and welcome everyone. This is our new series on learning biostatistics with SPSS. We'll be discussing how to use SPSS, how to enter the data, and how to use it for doing various tests. But before we start our presentation on data entry, we'll first do the basics regarding what is data. So in today's presentation, we will be covering what are observations, variables, and data matrices, and what are the type of variables. So this is basically a spreadsheet. You can use Excel or you can directly enter this data in SPSS. So basically it shows columns and rows. Each column basically has a variable. So serial number, sex, height, satisfaction, these are various variables. Each row has various observations. So we need to get the details of this so that we can enter our data properly in SPSS or import our data from Excel. So coming to what are the types of variables, this is very important to know what are the types of variables, because based on this we will learn how to enter the data and how to use the test and what tests are to be used. So the variables are divided basically into two types. The first being numerical. It means anything which will take values from infinity to zero, and it means that you can do all your mathematical calculations like multiplication, addition, subtraction, multiplication with these particular values. The next is categorical. They take selected values as per your definition, and in this you cannot really do any calculations. For example, say for example you have taken the sex of a population. You have selected female to be 1 and male to be 2. You cannot do any mathematical calculation based on these numbers. So these are called the categorical datas. Further division is done in numerical. It has two divisions. The first one is continuous data. The second is discrete data. So the difference between continuous and discrete is that continuous can take any value. That means you can get points and decimals in this, but discrete is something which will take only whole numbers. It cannot take uh, decimals. So the example of continuous is something like height. A person's height can vary from anywhere. It can have points, but discrete is something which cannot have points. It cannot have divisions. For example, the number of people in a study, number of cars in a household. So these values can never be in decimals. So these are called discrete numericals. So coming to the categorical, they are again divided into two. The first is ordinal. It means that there is a definitive order in which you can rate these categories. For example, if you do a survey and check how the satisfaction of a population is to a particular product, say for example they have three responses: satisfied, not satisfied, or neutral, or no response. So there is a definitive order in this particular classification. While there is something called nominal data, in this you do not have any specific classification. For example, sex, if there is male and female or transgender, there is no specific order in which you can put this, and there is no meaning of this order. You can put it any way you want. So this is called a nominal data. But practically speaking, the main two divisions remain numerical and categorical, while we must keep in mind these things when entering our data into the SPSS. So coming back to our data matrix, here we find there are four variables: the serial number, sex, height, and satisfaction. And there are 10 observations in each row. So for serial number, it is more of a discrete numerical. You cannot have a 1.1 serial number. The next is sex. It is more of a nominal value where you classify the population between male, female, and there is no definitive order in this categorical classification. The next is height. Height can take any value, but then any continuous data can be rounded off to a whole number. So you can present it this way also. You can present it with decimals also. The next is satisfaction. Here you have a definitive order of classification. Here satisfied means that it is good, while dissatisfied means it is definitely bad. So you have a classification of satisfaction, no opinion, to dissatisfaction. So basically here all the four data types are explained from categorical and numerical. So we need to know these two. This is a very important thing which we must know before we start entering data into the SPSS. So the next video will be on how to enter our data in SPSS. Thank you.